Hey, what's up everybody? This is your boy Tristan Barrocks, and you are watching Cine. Keep it locked. On today's show, I'll be talking about the top 5 lighting tips for vlogging. Tip number 1, figure out what type of lighting you need. Are you going to be using daylight? Are you going to be using artificial lights? Is it going to be LED? Is it going to be tungsten? Is it going to be incandescent?
Huh?
These are all the questions that you have to ask before you start shooting anything at all. My first preference is always to shoot in daylight or natural light because it gives you a great sort of look for your image quality, as well as it's free. I mean, it's the sun, for crying out loud. Really? It's free. You don't have to plug it in and you don't have to run it on batteries. Now, if for some reason you can't use outdoor lighting and you're indoors or you're in a place where it's really dark, then that's when you can use artificial lighting. Now, there are various types of artificial lighting. There are tungsten lights, there are incandescent lights, there are LED lights, and more professionally, there are KinoFlow lights. Now, the second point I'd like to talk about are 1, 2, or 3-point lighting setups. Lighting has a great effect on the production value of how your video or your film will be perceived or received by the end user. So it's really important to understand how to use light in effective ways. For instance, if I wanted to use just one light, as you can see, we're creating more of a dramatic and harsher look, which may not really work well for types of videos I'm trying to create. Now, if I add in a second light, I'm creating a 2-point lighting situation. Now, this is great for straight on, or even creating some sort of split lighting or dramatic effect. But again, I get lost in the background. So what I'm gonna do is add a third light and shine it onto my background. This will allow me to separate myself from my background, which will allow me to be more distinguishable for my viewer. It's really important in using 1, 2, or 3-point lighting techniques to understand your end goal. And that will determine whether or not you're going to be using one lighting system, you're going to be using 2, or you're going to be using 3 like I'm using right now. My third point is to use flattering light on your subject. I can't tell you how many times I've watched videos where the content's great, but lighting is terrible.
Y'all gonna push on respect up on my name.
It makes people look bigger, it makes people look scarier, it makes people look a little weird, to be honest with you. And all of that can be solved by just changing the positioning of your lighting. For instance, in this first example, I have the lights shining beneath me or below me, which makes me look more evil and sinister. Whereas in the second example, I have the lights shining on top of me, giving me more of a butterfly effect, which in turn makes me look a little bit more prettier, which I don't mind at all. Another way of creating flattering lighting is by using diffusion filters. These are filters that you put on top of your lights to soften the intensity and soften the beam coming from your light. My fourth tip is to use color temperatures. Color temperature, or color Kelvin, allows us to understand what color output any given light gives or produces. For instance, if you see a light that's more yellow or orangish, then we know that it's indoor calibrated. Whereas a light that is more blue or white is daylight calibrated. This is important because sometimes you're mixing and matching lights, or you're in situations where there's daylight coming in as well as you have indoor lighting, and you want to make sure that your lights match whatever lighting is in the actual room, and also that your camera matches that as well. My fifth and last point of the day for lighting is to use a bounce. A bounce allows you to reflect light from one source to your subject without having to use additional equipment. This is great because, again, when you're outdoors and you're doing a photo shoot or you're doing a video shoot and you just need a catch light, or you need just additional light to fill in some of the gaps and some of the shadows on the face, you can use a bounce to do this, and it's completely easy. The other reason why I like using a bounce is because it can actually block light out. So sometimes it's too bright, or sometimes you need to just kind of create a certain type of shadowing or a certain type of lighting effect, and you need something to block out a specific area of light. And you can use these to do that as well. And you don't have to power them, which is even better because you don't have to bring batteries and you don't have to bring additional lighting equipment and wiring. So it's a great tool that is super inexpensive, and it should be in anybody's kit. Well, that ends another episode of Cine. I hope you enjoyed yourself and you learned something too. Please like and subscribe. Please also share and comment below. Peace out.